Au début des années 80, nous avons tourné un film appelé « Mama, I'm Crying »,« Maman, je pleure », qui racontait l'histoire de l'apartheid. En ces années d'oppression, l'Afrique du Sud était en proie à la peur et au désespoir. Hélène Kuswayo et Joyce Cherokee m'ont servi de guide pendant mon voyage. Pendant ces années de crainte, toutes deux ont été emprisonnées pour s'être élevées contre l'apartheid. C'est avec une intense émotion que nous avons vu Hélène, âgée de 80 ans, élue cette année députée, elle à qui l'on a toute sa vie refusé le droit de vote.
Many things go through one's mind. And you say, is it true? Is it me? And it's me. And you only finally say, it's history. I keep on saying, I could have come earlier. I could have made a better contribution much earlier. And yet at the same time I say, I don't think I'm here by mistake. I'm here to fulfill the demands of history.
Tandis que l'on abaisse le drapeau britannique sur cet élégant hôtel colonial et que l'on entend résonner le clairon, je sais qu'il sonnera bientôt la retraite à travers tout le pays pour marquer la fin de notre domination sur un peuple jadis patient.
On those rare occasions when we went to the sea on holiday, I remember always feeling humiliated when I read the hateful signs reserved for whites only. We would sometimes dare to step from our stony beach onto their nice sandy one, but always with the fear of being arrested by the police who constantly patrolled to keep us in our place.
Remember on the beach, Ellen? Do you remember? On this beach, you, me and Joyce sitting quietly, newly multiracial, just beginning to integrate, and this young white man came. Remember him? Towering over us. I thought he was coming to be friendly. And he looked down and looked at the two of you and said, welcome, welcome to the human race.
You can imagine.
Welcome to the human race.
Wow. And indeed, when you look at it, you say, who are human? Who are? You know, you don't want to be saying, I'm better than so-and-so. But the truth of the matter is that the fact that in all ethnic black communities of South Africa, we have been brought up on one thing, Ubuntu. To humanity. To us, a person is more important than anything else, regardless of the color of their skin. And when you hear somebody coming to say, welcome to the human race, when indeed he is degrading you, you can only but sympathize with that type of person.
Well, he said that because those days, whites regarded us as baboons.
Yes,
in fact, they even called us baboons.
They said, they come from the trees.
Yes,
exactly.
And they didn't think we were human. But they didn't realize, Betty and Ellen, that in the process of dehumanizing us through their gruesome acts of apartheid, the detentions, the banishment, the torture, and forcing people into exile and removing people from their land. In that process, they were also dehumanizing themselves.
Exactly.
They were trapped in their hatred and in fact imprisoned in their hatred.
You're so right, Joyce. You couldn't have given a better description of that situation. Indeed, imprisoned in their hatred. Looking at it now, you begin to say, who indeed is welcome into the human race? Indeed, South Africa was the pariah of the world because of the government of this country. Na 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 na. Na 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 na.
I was one of 15 deputy electoral officers for the whole of Soweto, servicing a population of about 2 million people. And I remember I brought my mother to come and vote here at the age of 93. And I am 61, and Michelle was 22. And she is voting for the first time in her life. When the results were announced, Mandela was number one, and so he had won. I said, wonderful God, our wonderful protector. I danced. I said, God be praised. Mandela!
Nelson Mandela!
Mandela is now going to be the state president. And they were wonderful votes. After the election, even though Mandela had succeeded, I did not forgive. I did not forgive. At the moment, there's that little grudge. When I think of them, I remember their misdeeds and their cruelty.
Benji Oliphant était un garçon doux et affectueux qui souhaitait devenir prêtre. Nous avons appris sa mort brutale quelques mois après l'avoir filmé en 1986. La police a prétendu qu'il avait tenté de s'échapper en traversant une rivière. Le seul crime de Benji a été de protester contre l'apartheid.
So I had nothing to do with the Boers. It's not to say that we hate them or we don't want them. We hate what they are doing to us.
Voici les photos prises par les policiers à titre de preuve. Benji avait raconté que ces mêmes policiers l'avaient battu au bord de cette rivière. Il avait même prévu sa propre mort.
The back of the location, just behind the location, there's a river that runs there. They started interrogating me, putting chokes on me, hitting me with hammers. And I was unconscious. I fainted and find that I woke up at the police station again. Okay, they released me and they warned me. They said, if there was going to be any funeral, if they hear that I am there, they are definitely going to kill me and keep it as a secret.
After filling the forms, and then they take us inside to the mortuary. So we find Benji there, and he was well beaten. His head was swollen up. And he lost his one eye on the right side, was not there. So his jaws was also broken. So his face was full with blood. Yes.
Joyce
et moi sommes retournés voir la mère et le frère de Benji. Après la mort de celui-ci, ils avaient eu le courage de porter plainte contre les policiers pour meurtre. Peu avant l'audience, ils ont été arrêtés tous les deux et retenus prisonniers pendant 15 jours sans aucun motif d'inculpation.
When I wake up, I hear the voices, oh, it's the police. And then one of them, I was helping him at his yard. The one who told me the day after Benji was killed, he says to me, "Je moet vergeet, het is maar so, je sal maar niks doen nie."
You forget, you can do nothing.
You can do nothing.
Hanga ba ka ikutlwa monate next ne ka gone ke ne ke tlhola the whole day mo ke kwaletse mo ntho e nkusa botlhoko gore go tla yang gore ke yo go notlelwa ba blai ngwana ke ba ba notlelle pela ka ne le botlhoko thata.
L'un des policiers s'est même vanté en plein tribunal d'avoir tiré pour tuer. La mort de Benji ne lui causait aucun remords. Voici la note rédigée par l'avocat à l'intention de la Cour après avoir lu le rapport du médecin légiste.
Description globale de la situation. Ce jeune homme de 19 ans, d'un poids de 42 kilos, présentant des blessures graves visibles à l'œil nu, interrogé au cours de la nuit précédente, une main entravée par des menottes et souffrant d'une tuberculose ayant atteint les 2 poumons, aurait été considéré comme capable d'échapper à la vigilance de 4 policiers armés, dont 2 sont décrits comme étant en grande forme physique et pratiquant une activité sportive.
He was their slaughter, wasn't he? They slaughtered him.
They make him a wild animal.
Au grand désespoir de la famille, un non-lieu rendu par le tribunal d'instance et la Cour suprême a classé l'affaire.
How? Well, I told them, both of them, let us take it the way it is. We can't do nothing because apartheid is oppressing us, so we can't do nothing. So, but one day, God will answer our questions. So we kneel down and we pray.
Tout comme des milliers d'autres familles en deuil, les Olifants attendent toujours que justice leur soit rendue. Ils espèrent que la commission de la vérité actuellement mise en place pour dénoncer les événements qui se sont déroulés pendant les années d'apartheid révèle enfin le déni de justice qui a pesé sur l'affaire de Benji.
All right, we are poor family, but they should think for us first. Because what we are going to court with, this is our blood. Now, what we want from them, there must be a justice and a truth justice.
Simswabisile usathani akanamandla usathani Simswabisile haleluya akanamandla usathani Simswabisile.
If they can come anytime or see me anywhere and shoot me, I don't mind. To mean that I died for the nation. I didn't die for the oppressors or the white people who are oppressing us.
The children had to die to buy their own liberation. It's part of the pain that South Africa has gone through. And it is this pain that must be redressed. There must be much more than saying, we are sorry this has happened. And people expect that when other people say, perhaps if we will say we accept it, that of necessity is the end, because it's something else to say we forgive you, but to forget is another thing. It's a very long process that South Africa must commit itself to, particularly white South Africa.
But the truth was known to the people. And you're not going to structure truth through a commission. The truth was there and the truth was known to the people. Many of the people who participated in these atrocities, they are not there. And how many of them are really going to come out and declare that we did these things, and with what frame of mind? In a sense, those who perpetrated those kinds of atrocities did so under a certain kind of authority.
There's no doubt that a great deal of the evil that took root and took on a life of its own in South Africa was because people were allowed to do things in secret, they were not accountable, they didn't have to explain to people, and it attracted a great deal of sickness in personalities who knew they could get away with sick deeds in secret. And there are still many sick people in South Africa skulking around. Now, the only cure for that is, in fact, light, to show up what's been happening, show up that it's wrong. We can't escape from the past until we can say, this happened, this was wrong, this was evil, and as a nation we're going to turn away from it.
Fikile Bam served 10 years on Robben Island for his political beliefs. It was there he met and worked with Mandela.
I went to jail at a very young age, at 23, and I can safely say that all I know about law and about life and about politics, it was what he taught me, because we spent a lot of time together, working together. And it was really a wonderful experience. It's something which, people don't believe this, but I don't regret my experience for having gone to prison that time.
Nous avons voulu savoir ce que ressent aujourd'hui Fikile en pensant à ses années d'emprisonnement. Nous lui avons parlé la veille de son pèlerinage à Robben Island.
When I say we, I think I speak on behalf of all prisoners. Some get beyond the stage of tears because there's so many things that have happened, hard things, which we have participated in, that very often it's just enough to be together and not say anything, and and just be asking ordinary questions about family and so on, and not reminding ourselves of the real painful things that we've been through. It becomes a break in a way to progress. You sort of wallowing in this self-pity and reminding yourself that you haven't got time to think ahead in a positive way and do things that have to be done now. If, of course, like now, you think it is important and it will serve a purpose for people to know and for generations and our children to know what we went through, then you can verbalize some of the experiences. We were immediately asked to strip our clothes and get into prison garb. And from there, straight on again, back onto the trucks, rushed down to the docks, chained up, put down into the hold of that, and we're off. La, 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 la.
Fikile est retourné dans l'île avec sa sœur Lope et Joyce, une amie d'enfance.
I do feel very sad, actually. I am not sure that it's even such a wonderful thing to revisit these very unpleasant memories. Feeling of people being confined, people being in the water. I just felt they were in the middle of nowhere, cut off completely from humanity and from everything, and I don't like to be back here.
So Joacha and Kloppe, this is where we worked all day long for 10 years.
And the idea of digging the quarry was simple to keep you busy, or
Sorry.
What was the quarry used for, or it was just...
Well, essentially it was to find us work to do, because we were all sentenced as ordinary criminals who had to do hard labor. We'd been sentenced to hard labor. and so hard labor had to be found. You can see the peak marks over there. All those were
all these
peak
things
marks
that
were
are
made.
straight.
Yes.
All those straight lines is where the peak would be.
That's right. Yes, that's the made by us, and we would be digging there, singing at the same time while we were digging. So that we didn't have to overexert ourselves. It's very
Now, what is the effect of the lime? Because it's powdery. Did it get into your chest?
Yes, indeed. It's got into my chest now.
You think so?
I'm coughing. Yeah. And it made us all white. You had to wash every time coming back from the quarry. South African prisons are as beautiful and splendid from the outside as they are harsh and bitter from the inside. The island in particular is covered with thick foliage all the year round. All manner of creatures roam freely within the woods and up to the beaches. In the beginning, when all the things are happening to you and very painful and very bitter, and you think and sleep that I've got to get my own back at this kind of treatment. I can never allow people to treat me this way and not do anything about it. And yet as the years go on, it actually wears off. You then realize that that's not the important thing. The important thing is not what happens to you individually, is not even what an individual does to you. It is to change around the system as a whole, for the good of all humanity. Because one of the things that imprisonment taught us, and even the very humiliations taught us, was that in the midst of all that, all the oppression and all the evil, the humanity, the essence of humanity was there even among the warders who look after us.
What hurts me most at the moment is just to think how, for all those years, these men and women were humiliated. They were put down. They were deprived of things that are so basic for humanity and for the dignity of humanity. And these were people who, after all, were fighting for justice. And it has taken this kind of price for that to happen. I feel quite hurt now, much more than ever before. And I'm glad I've gone through this experience myself, because it will help me to understand as I talk to other South Africans and to other individuals and to many people, especially to our white compatriots, who have to understand that even after the elections, even after the government of national unity, our hurt is still there.
Ce groupe de camarades nous a demandé de le filmer devant l'autel pour témoigner du bien fondé de sa cause.
A few months after this meeting, the children barricaded the streets to prevent the heartless rent evictions. The army went from house to house, shambooking any young people they found at home. As the children fled to escape the whipping, they were shot dead by the troops outside. 2 of these young people died that night.
When I asked Bota, what are you trying by doing this? Killing our brothers, sisters, parents? Bota replies, I want to keep order in Soweto. Bota wants to keep order in Soweto by killing innocent people. Wow. Oh, Mama and Lila, Mama, I'm crying.
Jerry Mtembu, lui, a vécu et il a pu constater les changements intervenus en Afrique du Sud. Nous sommes retournés lui parler, à lui et à ses camarades filmés en 1986, pour voir comment ils se sentaient dans la nouvelle Afrique du Sud.
I was the happiest man, if not in the world, to have a vote in South Africa after so many years from our forefathers. we have suffered under the regime. So I was happy to have a vote, and I was happy to see that there is democracy in South Africa.
The system of the past was very cruel, if I may say so. That is why we find most of the people having a hard time to reconcile with the past. But what we're saying is the Truth Commission should start with all those families and try to bring up the truth. I think if everything can come up, like say, people who disappeared, I mean, because of the system, the government should reveal all those. Maybe the families can be happy by hearing that where do their loved ones gone to.
There is time now. This is the time, in fact, for reconciliation. This is the time to forget about the past. We know how difficult it is. But we must commit ourselves for the benefit of the country, economically and otherwise, so that we can be prosperous in this country. Then we must support that, and it should be reconciliation. I care but less about individual whites, because here we are talking about the whole people of South Africa, black and white. So we never hated them before. We hated what they were doing, because in our struggle, whites were involved fighting apartheid. So all those who still don't believe that South Africa is a democratic country, they'll see where to go. But this country, it belongs to all the people who wants democracy and who live in this country. Because of you, apartheid. Young promising leaders are gone because of you, apartheid. I talk of Benjamin Oliphant. I talk of Daniel Kekane and many more. They've died under you, apartheid. Our heroes are gone. I talk of Chris Hani, our Original Tambo, and many more. It is because of you, apartheid. But at last, apartheid, we have defeated you. Democracy is existing in our country. Goodbye, apartheid. Hello, you South Africa.
En 1985, un jeune homme de 18 ans, Andrew Zondo, a posé une bombe dans le centre commercial d'une station balnéaire réservée aux Blancs, tuant 5 personnes, dont 2 enfants blancs. Une onde de choc traversa toute la communauté blanche d'Afrique du Sud. Nous nous sommes entretenus avec Fatima Mir, qui a elle-même enduré plusieurs années de prison et de bannissement. Nous voulions comprendre ce qui avait pu pousser ce jeune garçon à commettre un tel acte.
2 events really were crucial in his life, apart from the tear gassing. One was the raid on Maputo. He was there when it happened. And he saw how children had been killed by the South African Defence Force. And the other one was the raid into Maseru during Christmas. And, that unhinged him. Now I went to see him in prison. And the remarkable thing about this young man was his sense of remorse. He kept saying to me, how can I make them understand that I did not do this as a racist thing and I never intended to kill anybody. Now it seems a kind of a contradiction to say you lay a bomb, a limpet mine, it explodes, it kills 5 people, and then for you to say I never intended to do it. But Joyce, I believed him.
Andrew a été condamné à mort pour avoir fait sauter cette bombe. Nous sommes retournés voir sa famille.
We went down to Pretoria. I think it was about two to 5 days before he was executed. I mean, the main intention was to see him and to say whatever we could say. But it didn't happen the way we had planned it. They didn't allow me inside. They said I was too young. They said I was too young, even though I explained that I were to see my brother for the last time. If it was okay with them, they didn't allow me to do that. I remember it very clearly. I cried that day when they told me I couldn't see my brother for the last time. But anyway, I just had to forget about that. You know the area around here? Uh-huh. It's called the Andrew Zondo branch. It's named after my brother. They don't say, oh, Andrew Zondo, a bad guy. They always say Andrew Zondo, our comrade.
You voted in the last election, did you?
I did.
How did you find that? How did you feel when you voted?
Proud, happy, a little reminder of my brother. All the times when voting was not for us, I remember those times. We never even knew about voting when we grew up. It's something that we happened to know about over a couple of years ago when you found out, hey, there's something called voting. Wow. What do you vote for? A president? Oh, we just heard that there was a president. We never knew that you had to go vote for a president.
Do you have, like, friends who are white?
Yeah, friends who are white. I think I just haven't had a chance to make some friends, but I think I could if I wanted to.
He was a humble boy, very intelligent. Very intelligent. Hey, he was a good man. Unfortunately. I think it would be a miserable thing if he had to leave. Well, that's how both myself and my wife feel, that he would live a more miserable life, knowing that, well, there are people who are dead, but he is living.
You know, we're going to see the mother and father of Cornelius Smith, the young boy who died in that bomb blast. Is there any message you'd like to send them?
If there was a way to apologize, we surely would apologize. And they must understand that we have never been involved in any political affiliation whatsoever. We are just preaching the gospel, and we live there 24 hours out of every 24. So they must understand we were not involved, and send our love to them. We love them in spite of all that.
Cornelius Smith avait 7 ans lorsqu'il a été tué dans cette explosion. Ses parents avaient accepté de nous rencontrer. Mais à notre arrivée, la maison était vide.
I feel very disappointed that we haven't found the Smiths in their house in spite of having arranged to meet them at 3:30. Because I was looking forward to this day for me to express my feelings about the death of their son and the way he died, when I couldn't express those feelings when it actually happened. Because I remember very well when I was imprisoned at the Orlando police station on the 16th of June, 1976. I remember sitting in our cell, hearing, groans of agony and cries of agony from the young people who were arrested that day. And I was shocked one night when we changed to another cell that we actually walked over the dead bodies of those children in that cell.
Never told me that, John.
I thought I did share it with you, with Oshadi Pakat. And so with that memory and the fact that when we filmed Mama, I'm Crying, we were directly involved with Benji, who was terribly brutalized and killed by the police of the apartheid regime. And we also interviewed those girls, young, bright women who were forced into sanctuary, trying to run away from the police. So how could I have expressed my sorrow with the Smiths? All I was prepared to do was to admire Mr. Smith for saying that he wished that the then government would negotiate with the ANC so that his son's death was not in vain.
Au grand soulagement de Joyce, Annie et Anna-Marie ont fini par venir.
Well, I'm still a bit bitter about it, but it's over now. But still sometimes just with his birthday and just now near Christmas, I feel like I know you're black, but I'm sorry. But I could kill everyone, really.
You still feel that way?
I still feel that way. But I'm sure it will get better sometimes or in another 20 years.
I cried when I realized that he was dead, but I didn't want to accept that he was dead. When they showed him to me in the mortuary, I didn't want to believe it was my son lying there. That's why I asked them to take him out of that last case so that I can have a look at his chin, because when he was small I accidentally dropped him and there was a little cut under his chin, and I wanted to make sure that's him because I didn't want to believe it was him.
Now, Annie-Marie, after having seen the film Mama, I'm Crying, do you yourself now feel you can get into this process of forgiving? I know it's very hard. You said it earlier, that it's still difficult for you to forget what happened to your son.
Well, I have a look at the film and, well, at that time I was a little girl and I never knew it was dit was so verskriklik geweest nie. My ouers het nooit daaroor gepraat nie. Die groot mense het nie politiek voor die kinders gepraat nie. So ons het nie geweet wat gaan aan nie. Maar toe ek daai film sien, ek het nie besef dit was so erg geweest nie. En wel, ek sal my bes probeer om te vergewe en te vergeet.
I believe my son died as a hero for South Africa. I would be satisfied if his death and the death of the other 4 people would lead to a better South Africa.
Yeah.
How do you feel you came to say that, coming from your background?
I think it was inspiration from God. It was not my own saying, said that. All the other people I knew, they didn't like what I said. They was very much against me, and actually they hated me for saying that.
Baie dankie, Anna-Marie.
Dankie, dit is plesier geweest om jou te ontmoet.
Ek voel
met jou te gesels.
Baie lekker en mee.
Beneste.
Ja, in my heart, that I had this chance of talking to you, and sharing my compassion with you when in the past I couldn't have done so.
Thank you, Joyce.
I hope you can understand why I couldn't.
Yes, I do understand.
Yeah.
Because at that time, I would have... I couldn't have... want ek sal nie kon verstaan het nie. Want op daai stadium was ek gegrief, ek was verbitterd. En ek glo nie ek sal enige iets kon verstaan het of gepraat het nie, regtig.
I dreamt of him just after he died. I was anxious to know that he went to God, that God accepted him. And I dreamt that he was, that Jesus was carrying him in his arms. So that I dreamt and that I can remember. That's the only time. And then I was satisfied after what I dreamt.
Well, we would like to say to them, we love them, although this has happened. They are parents. They understand that our kids never turn out always to what we intended them to be.
I thought that he would have thought that his son did the right thing to fight for their freedom. I can't believe that it's actually sounding like he don't like what his son did. But he should remember at that time it was war. I feel very sad for him. I feel I can sympathize with him because I know what it feels like to lose a son. I feel like crying with him. You can hear the sorrow in his heart. But some of us have to suffer for other people.
Les Smiths ont invité le révérend et Madame Zondo à venir leur rendre visite chez eux. Les Zondo ont accepté avec empressement, mais leur émotion était perceptible.
Oh, the water pipes, everything. Do come in. Oh, sure. Nice and cool.
Hello. How are you, ma'am?
A-I-K-E-N. Aiken.
That's right.
I forgave his son. It sounded like he didn't forgive his son. I mean, it's he should forgive him and remember it was actually war, you know.
As far as forgiving is concerned, forgiving is what we preach and practice. But then as a father, sometimes we don't want to appear as defending your boy. And we loved him until the very last day before he was executed. And
I mean, it made me think. I never even thought about the blacks until my son's death. You know, we chatted and said, all right, it's at that time, not really. We never actually, it's after that we started talking about the blacks and said it's not right according to the Bible and stuff like that. But before that, it never even bothered me. I never even thought about it. It didn't touch you, it didn't matter. You know, it wasn't anything of your concern. We were always told as little kids, the blacks are barbaric, they've got no education, you know. You can't expect more of them. You can take a black out of the bush, but you can't take the bush out of the black and those type of things, you know. it was, you were actually brainwashed. That's it. We were brainwashed.
As long as black people don't hear that apology and that confession from the white people, it's going to be very difficult for them to forget and to forgive.
Why should I ask for forgiveness? I've done nothing wrong. And there's a lot of whites that might feel the same as that I do. Why should I ask for forgiveness? I haven't done anything wrong. The only thing that I might ask God is, forgive me for being stupid, not seeing.
Ek ken eerlik, ek mis Corné nog baie en soms wens ek hy was nog hier gewees. Maar dit is seker maar wens wat seker nooit weer waar sal word nie. Maar die dag met sy dood, ek weet nie, ek het hysteries geraak en dit was wel die laaste gewees. Ek het nie weer gehuil oor hom nie. Nou
sometimes I feel an emptiness, I don't feel that I can feel anything. There's an emptiness in me, and sometimes I want to cry, but it's unexplainable. You can't really explain it. Actually, I wanted to say that I don't feel anything anymore, but it's not true, When I think about it myself, it's okay. I don't feel that I want to cry, but when somebody else talks about it,
yes,
then I feel terrible. But that's it. I mean,
I feel the same too. I mean, it's like it happened and it was filed and it was put away.
Yeah.
But if someone brings the file,
yeah.
and you feel you feel uneasy.
Yeah.
I mean, even up to now, when the mention of his name is still giving some problems, and you say, I should forget.
Yeah.
Forget sometimes in a parent becomes a word in a dictionary, not something you can practice.
Yeah.
But sometimes you say, even sometimes when you pray, you say, Lord, I'm not willing, but I'm willing to be made willing.
Yeah, that's true. I understand completely. That's the same way I felt. You're trying to forget, and you didn't want to believe it. I felt exactly the same. That's things that's how people operate. That's how God made us. Do you still want to cry about your child?
No, I don't want to. Well, I think he is just at peace.
They were absolutely innocent. They were all victims of the same kind of racism. One planted a bomb, the others became victims of that bomb, but actually victim and victimizer, you really cannot draw the line between the two. They all were human sacrifices to the racism that had permeated the entire system of this country.
Thank you very much.
Almost started a month. That's nice to see you again. It's a great pleasure. Sure. Yeah, now we know we're the home in Pretoria.
Yeah. Anytime you're welcome, every time you come.
Now we sure glad for Okay.
I wish I could see you again.
I might come and visit you down there.
Yeah.
That there has been a tremendous transformation. Whereas in 1985, I think you yourself must have sensed a sense of fear, a sense of hopelessness, a sense of not being able to stand up to the authority of the white regime, to racism. Now, of course, you see the sense of liberation in the attitude of people, in their relationships with each other. The whites have been suddenly liberated. They no longer see themselves as the chosen people. They realize their place in society. And the blacks have realized their place too, that they are no longer the underlings, even if they are enmeshed in poverty. You see all over a sense of pride. Country belongs to us.